All right, good morning again, everyone. So right now we have ripWSB with Stick to the Man. How are you doing, Rip?
Pretty good. How's everybody doing? How's the marathon going? Yeah, this is Stick to the Man. I have on comms. Thank you for waking up super early, Emerald Alley.
Happy to. Yes, this is Stick It to the Man, a comedy classic from Swedish developers Zoink Games. Timer starts when Rip hits new games, so let's be ready on that.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and go to a countdown. So
Ready when you are.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck!
Thank you. Probably should have done a speed run the countdown, just go like 3, 2, 1, but we're in it.
I always like to give a slightly longer one in marathons just to make sure everyone hears me. Anyway, this is Stick It to the Man. It's a comedy platformer. There's not really any puzzle elements to it, but there is certainly a lot of running and jumping. It's kind of a pity that we have to skip all the cutscenes. They are the best part of the game, but there's still some very cool speedrun tech. This first level is just really introducing the movement mechanics, just moving around, jumping. It's Ray returning home from work as a hard hat tester. So Ray is very much a blue-collar kind of guy. And here's the first big story element is this plane flying in the storm. And it goes down, it drops its payload. And at this point, Rip is continuing to run left. You actually don't have to. You can stand perfectly still here, and these cutscenes of the payload falling will happen at exactly the same timing. It just completely doesn't matter either way. Ray gets bonked in the head by this payload, and we're off to Chapter 2.
It hurts to cut or skip all these cutscenes.
Hey, a bottle.
Yeah.
Nice work, me.
So the principal speed mechanic in this game involves connecting to a pin, which you see here for the first time, these pins. Oh, also we have a noodle arm coming out of our head. Kind of important. But the principal speed tech for this game involves connecting to a pin as a cutscene starts. It places you in an out-of-bounds state, and there's some interesting effects you can do with it. Not in this chapter, but in the next one, there is a very small usage of it.
Oh, wow. Pink elephant.
This is, Ray assumes he's just having head trauma and he's imagining this gigantic robot of himself. But actually, that little guy you see up there, and you're just catching little glimpses of him since we can't linger on the cutscenes, but that's Ted, and he is very important to the story as well.
Crazy. Oh, well.
Just a little more basic running and jumping going on here.
Hey there, little guy.
Not too much going on right now, so perhaps if there's any donations, this might be a good time to read some.
Oh, there's a good girl.
Do not have any donations right now,
Okay.
but I'd like to give a shout out to our restreamers. We have 2 restreamers in French and Japanese, the Baguette stream and Japanese restream with the underscore between the words there. We've worked with them both for these groups before, and we're very thankful to have their support once again.
Yeah, that's outstanding.
That's awesome.
So we get the bone arm from the skeletal pirate to lure our girlfriend's dog back to her, and we're off to Chapter 3, back into the real world. You see Ray's head is bandaged. That's further evidence that he assumes what he just experienced was some sort of nightmare. In the cutscene we skip there, the arm bursts through the bandages. It's very real.
Listen, man.
Yeah.
Find a way to help
That is in fact Ted, the alien, who, this is just one of his abilities, apparently. And the other of his abilities is reading minds. We actually read the mind of the guy who was strung up there. It's a little bit grim, but done in a comedic way. To find out that he's depressed his girlfriend left him, and now we have to, collect various stickers. Oh, that's the other thing I neglected to mention, is the world is made of essentially paper and stickers, and you progress by putting stickers on various things. There's the first usage of connecting to a pin when a cutscene starts. It's a pretty small skip here because all it does is allow Rip to walk from the back of the scenery forward without having to connect to a pin below. It saves maybe a second and a half here. There are much bigger applications of it later in the game. That is Chapter 3, so that's a pretty solid start.
Yeah, luckily the opening chapters are pretty quick, and then gradually they get longer and longer. But
When I used to run this game myself, I won't say it's a common mistake, but one of the more entertaining mistakes I ever made is just completely running off the edge and into the abyss at the beginning of this level. And I'm sure you've done it too.
So many times.
Yeah.
Later, possibly imaginary suckers.
So yeah, you're just grabbing pins to get through and around the agents. If the agents zap you, it will send you back to the nearest Mr. Copy station, which are basically your checkpoints. There's one right there. I don't know if my saying right there lined up with stream delay, but
Those guys are snappily
there it
dressed.
was. And there's another one. Yeah, you can see them. The green lights turn on as you go past them. That guy there is supposed to introduce the sleep sticker mechanic, which is when you read the mind of an agent in a gray suit. He thinks of himself sleeping. You can grab that sticker and put it on any other agents, the sleepy one or anyone else, to momentarily lull them to sleep and be able to get past them. It's largely not necessary to actually do that in most of the platforming we'll see. Because you can just... The agents do run slightly faster than you, but you're always way ahead of them by the time they see you. So if you know where you're going, it's easy enough to just run past them.
They will get pretty annoying in the last chapter, unfortunately.
Yeah, no doubt. Coming up is the only cutscene in this game you can't skip. I'm not exactly sure why, but this right here with the gorilla shooting the man out of the cannon, this is unskippable. Everything else is skippable.
I was gonna ask you about that if you had any idea why. Just
No.
one. It's so weird.
Because I'm pretty sure it doesn't, like, mask a load or anything like that, so... Yeah, go figure. So in this level, we've been, sent to the psychiatrist since everyone thinks we're crazy, and the psychiatrist himself is having problems, with gaining the acceptance of his father, and we're collecting these various items around the level to end up with the Mouth of Grateful Dad, which we've already gotten, and we will stick it on his ghost when we get back up to the office here. It makes sense in context, I assure you. There's the ghost, there's the Grateful Mouth, and now we are... Well, I'm about to get ahead of myself. I was thinking of Chapter 6. Chapter 5 is another, like, dreamlike state,
Welcome to race.
and there's a pretty significant skip here. We go past this Mr. Copy station here and let this agent zap us. We don't?
Nah, I go a different route.
Oh, this is new to me.
Yeah, we'll actually see most of this level.
Okay.
I think it saves a few seconds, actually. I need to go back and time it, because I might be losing time. But
Yeah, I have
with how
not
the
seen this
level's set up,
before.
yeah, if it works.
Oh,
You can still get zapped by the agents, and it'll kind of screw things up, but...
Yeah, the skip I remember is being zapped by the agent, which sends you back up to the very top of the level, and you can just completely jump past about half of the level.
Which is pretty cool. Oh, wrong guy. I was saving that for somebody else.
Yeah, this level right here is probably where most of the time save relative to when I ran the game back in 2015 and 16 is found. There's a lot of pathing here that is just... I mean, I'm obviously still a mod for the game, so I've seen it, but it's not something I'm innately familiar with. Just like grabbing the pins below you that you don't actually see, that is not something I ever did in my runs.
Because the out of bounds is pretty cool in this one.
Rhonda. My first go.
Yeah, this is essentially Ray telling Dr. Brahm his personal history, I guess you would say. And at the end of it, Dr. Brahm concludes, as you can kind of see on this interstitial card, that Ray is completely cuckoo, and we have been sent off to the
Surprisingly well.
insane asylum.
The asylum itself without getting spotted.
Poor Ray.
The first thing, this is probably the most convoluted level. There's a lot of coming and going. The first thing we're doing here is grabbing the sticker for, it's called like positive thoughts or something like that. It's just this upward pointing arrow, and that will enable us to make a digger start to feel a little bit better about himself, so he digs up and allows us into a tunnel that we need to access. And that's kind of how the game works. In your first playthrough, you just kind of have to go around like reading people's minds and figuring out what exactly they want and where to find it in the world. Yeah, I said earlier there's no puzzle elements. I guess there are slight puzzle elements to this. Ow! Actually, I remember now, this chapter does have one of the more not so straightforward things in the game. It's when we get the dead mouse, and we will get to that shortly. This is something I straight up did not figure out on my first playthrough and had to like game FAQs or whatever for it. So we've got the wild eyes from that doctor. Once he learns how to dance, those will come in useful momentarily. There's actually a trophy or achievement for, I believe it's right there, climbing up that area with all the nurses without getting seen. Yeah, the dead mouse sticker is strictly to move this girl where we want her to go. She has to just see it and follow you. She's a taxidermist. She has her pet dead cat in her hands. It is something that's certainly possible to figure out on your own, but the entire game is all about placing stickers, and in the case of this one, you just need to show it and have her follow you. So it does take a little lateral thinking. We have the fire and the electricity. Well, the electricity is where we'll place a sticker in a moment. And another thing we can't really show in the speedrun but are kind of funny is what Ray says when you examine the stickers. Well, I'm a dude with boiling water in his pocket. All the ladies must want me now. I always like that one.
There's some good lines in this game.
So we've got the English tea set, which when we place it
Where are we going?
down by the creepy ghost girl, will lead the creepy ghost bunny to completely plow his way in there and open up this tunnel. And now we have the taxidermy girl following us because we're showing her the dead mouse that she wants so badly.
This battery's dead.
There's the dead bus battery that we will,
Hey, you!
well, you're gonna have to see it to believe it. You will see it briefly, but we have a
Here we are.
deflated whale carcass. We have this airbag, the guy blows back up the whale carcass, so now we have an inflated whale carcass.
I learned long
And
ago.
what do you do with an
Stay
inflated
away
whale
from girls
carcass?
who are also ghosts.
This is kind of that kind of game, because this makes sense. You charge a battery.
It's now charged. Thank you,
Like I say, that's with the electricity there. The guy was enjoying getting electroshock therapy, maybe a little too much. We now have a charged battery, thank you electricity, and we will apply that charged battery to the inflated whale carcass, and now it's a mode of transportation, because, okay. Chapter 7, that is the man you saw there, that shadowy figure. He is now aware that we are on the run, and he has sent his agents to capture us. There is a not huge, but fairly significant and pretty cool skip here, where you... Oh, we didn't get it. If Rip had connected to the pin there when that cutscene started, you would have been able to skip this business with grabbing the crank from that guy's head, lowering the bridge. It would have actually spawned him right by this Mr. Copy.
Then another right.
Not right by it, he would have had to jump, because it actually spawns you over the drop. But certainly if you know that that's coming, it's not hard to avoid the death. That's too bad, but as I say, it's not a huge skip. It does still look pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
So our task in this level is to impersonate a opera singer. And certainly the methods for doing that are a little less than straightforward, but it starts with this starts with this dead horse's head, and if you've ever seen The Godfather, there's your reference. That makes her scream, so we get her mouth. We don't put our mouth on ourselves, there's another use for it. Yeah, you see the agent in the gray suit there. I think you're expected to get the sleep sticker from him to be able to make it through that section.
There we go.
But it's not necessary. Mouth on the megaphone.
Wow. This thing is
Basically makes everything go crazy there. We get the wig. We give the fish cake to the bird, which makes him barf up this dead fish, which the taxidermy girl has now taken shine to. We get the fox that the opera singer wears as... I don't know what you would call that exactly, but wears as an accoutrement. And we're off to go fool her limo driver to take us home.
Yeah, I want to like go back in time and sit in on these game design meetings and what was going through their heads or system.
Yeah, the Zoink folks are a lovely bunch of goofballs.
Ah, sweet.
Chapter 8, The Nightmare. This is not a very gameplay intensive stage. You're basically just running the whole time, and I have heard from the developers that this was designed and developed in one day. I'm searching for another word that I couldn't find. In one lone day, I think is what I was looking for. Just so the game would have 10 chapters and not 9. 10 is a more interesting number, I suppose. And yeah, we're basically just running here for a couple of minutes, so if the host has anything to contribute, any donations, anything like that?
No donations still, but I do want to plug our next goal that's going to be closing here, well, in a little bit, but we have one more Earthbound Gym HD incentive for play advanced for Pete's sake. Is, you know, not much, just $35, and you can see an advanced level.
Now, hopefully we can get that incentive met.
One thing I wanted to say is if you enjoy this kind of art style and the weird goofy stuff that I guess we're skipping all of, they have at least 2 other games that have the same like art style, and it's Flipping Death and there's another one called Zombie Vikings, and they're both Flipping Death is kind of similar to Stick It to the Man, and then Zombie Vikings is like a little brawler almost. It's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah, they both have side-scrolling elements and very much done the same style. Flipping Death even has a few of the same characters.
Yeah.
Flipping Death I would definitely call a spiritual sequel to this game. Yeah, we just have Ted leading us to safety from our pursuers. That's the end of Chapter 8. Chapter 9 is by far the most broken chapter. There is a substantial skip towards the beginning of the chapter that, well, fingers and toes, I guess.
Oh, hello.
Okay, handsome.
No such luck. So if Rip had been able to grab that pin as the cutscene with the scientist started, it would have put him behind the scenery and been able to just walk straight forward past everything he's doing right now. It's about a minute time save. It's very significant. And Rip has not had it in a leaderboard run yet, and his time is so good anyway, so I'm really excited to see that happen someday.
And like once you get out of bounds, you can still fall off. So it's still tricky.
Yes, I definitely did that a few times when I was practicing the skip myself. I only got the skip, I believe, twice in a run myself, so it's not easy. Yeah, it skips all of this.
Yeah.
However, there are still other skips in this chapter.
This is where you would come out, pretty much.
Yeah. And it would despawn the agents in this section too, so you could just completely run through here without having to do anything. Oh, that's another mechanic. The gray-suited agents can also have a Ray sticker, which makes their fellow agents think whoever you put that on is Ray, so they flock to that person. Here's the completely easy skip for this chapter. There's just an invisible climb you can do there to just go straight to the top of the scenery, and you are heckin' out of bounds. I have no idea why that's there. I recall asking the developers. I never really got an answer. But you can just run past half the level, and now you're here. There would ordinarily be agents here as well, but the spawn trigger for them has been skipped, so they are not there, and you're at the very end of the level. You do have to backtrack to get one more sticker, but that skips a good half the level. And it's really quite easy. You just have to know that that climb is there. And some of these skips you can only do on PC. That one is possible on console as well. Like the one with the crank, the bridge crank, that one is only possible on PC. Alright, off to the final chapter, which is on the space station. You're briefly playing as Arlene, Ray's girlfriend. All she has to do is knock over this like stasis chamber that Ted is in, and now you're playing as Ted rather than inhabiting Ray's brain, because as you may have briefly glimpsed in the intro cutscene, Ray is actually floating in space right now, so we have to go rescue him, and it's a good thing he can hold his breath for as long as he can. Yeah, Ted really is not that agile. He can't really jump at all, but he can grab pins. That's all he needs. And, oh, I misspoke earlier when I said the canon cutscene is the only unskippable one. These ones involving the TVs are also unskippable.
Yeah, chapter 10 is the unskippable cutscene chapter, for sure.
Still a sticker. Everyone else's head smells funny, like worms.
So that is the sticker, the oil that will allow us to open the airlock door and go rescue Ray. It's because the man's mother, who is a robot, it makes sense in context, will only open the door for him by smelling that oil. And now Ted has rejoined Ray, and we are back with Ray with the noodle arm coming out of his head.
You know I can't kiss you because
And another
I'm
unskippable moment here as the
future.
actually the turtle watching this TV that's kind of significant because it is the turtle's brain we will read
It
afterwards,
all makes perfect sense.
isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah, it all makes perfect sense. I'm not sure about that. And there is two more places to watch a little TV. Yeah, here are the agents in the spacesuits that Rip mentioned earlier. There's quite a few of them.
Space, the final RPG. These are the adventures of the Starship D20.
The Starship
As you all know,
D20.
the Starship 20-sided die is the most efficient shapes for warp field dynamics. D20's continuing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations.
And obviously we save the very best sticker for last. It is because it's at the very top and in the most out of the way area. But yeah, I just have to say what that one's called. Alright, a little bit more jumping and climbing past spacesuited agents.
How will we ever get
Rip is doing a really good job avoiding them all.
Yeah, luckily they were at a pretty nice spot for this one.
Was that a D20?
Oh yeah.
Yes, it was.
Obviously.
Nice.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting about those.
So we see this
Oh yeah.
this children's TV show which the nanny head is watching, and it makes her remember something from the man's childhood. Behold, Poopy Bear. And if you examine it, Ray says that he really doesn't want to know why it's called Poopy Bear. I tend to agree. So what we're doing is implanting these memories into the memory of the mom robots, which causes her to annoy the man, and in turn causes her to trigger a countdown for the station's self-destruct, but she doesn't really know how to count, so she never reaches the end of the countdown, is the upshot. She's constantly just saying like, I'm sorry, I'm such a disappointment to you. Now where was I? That kind of thing. There we go, that's That's no unintentional zappings, isn't it? That's pretty good. Yeah, so I'm watching on stream delay, Rip. You'll probably have to call.
I was about to say, time is coming up pretty soon, so.
It's when we place the very last sticker.
9.
This is the intergalactic telephone,
7.
giant noodle, and a can of tomatoes.
Alright, and when I slap this on the monkey over here, that should be time.
Well done.
So that, stick it to the
Very
man.
good run. Yeah. Ted is calling his buddies to come rescue them from the It Eventually Does Explode station. And, yeah, we should probably cut this because the outro song, it's a great song, but it will get the VOD muted. So, let's stick it to the man. Well done, Rick.
Thank
And I
you so
hope
much for
everybody
coming.
enjoyed watching. Yeah,
GG.
had a great time doing it.
Best estimate I can give